Despite reports this week that the Broncos have already made the decision to continue the rest of the season with Brock Osweiler, Coach Gary Kubiak insisted to reporters yesterday that they are committed to getting Peyton Manning back.
Listen, like I told you guys before, we're totally committed to getting our quarterback, getting Peyton healthy, and getting him back. And nothing's changed. And nothing's changed with where we're heading this week. Brock's our starter this week, and we're all in getting ready for San Diego. So we are week to week and doing everything we can to win the next football game. But absolutely nothing has changed.
Stephen A. Smith, what is going on here? Because I'm very confused right now.
Well, listen, what's going on is that you've got a lot of people that are asking legitimate questions about the existence of Brock Osweiler and whether or not it will continue into perpetuity. You have to remember that Brock Osweiler is in position to negotiate a new contract. The Denver Broncos could potentially lose him in the offseason. At some point in time, you've got to find out about what this guy is worth. And if you are John Elway, you're thinking about the future because we all recognize that Peyton Manning is approaching the end. Now, somebody like Skip might believe that Peyton Manning has another year left in him after this season, and he may very well be right. We can't sit there and summarily dismiss that possibility. But the flip side to it is that long before Peyton Manning actually sat down, he was 7-2. Okay, we get that after 9 games. He got injured 2 games prior to that, but still managed to win a couple of games. But in the end, he had 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and a QBR of like 47 or 45, if I remember correctly. And at the same time that all of that was transpiring, he was completing less than 60% of his passes, which is not something we know Peyton Manning to be doing. So when you take all of those things into consideration, and clearly his best days appear to be behind him, and you've got a guy like Brock Osweiler who's been sitting on the bench for 3 years, learning from the very best. He's got a strong arm. He's capable of throwing the guys outside the numbers and downfield. And obviously, that's going to open the floor up for your running game because he can also play behind center as opposed to out of the shotgun, which facilitates a better running game on the part of C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman. And those facts have been brought to bear. Then all of those things point to you being better off with Brock Osweiler than Peyton Manning. On its face, it's hard to believe that that's even, something that we should entertain. But Skip Bayless, I got to tell you, on my radio show yesterday on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, I had Joe Theismann, Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Channel 82, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, every weekday. I had Joe Theismann, Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Washington Redskins, talk about why it's plausible for Denver to look in the direction of Brock Osweiler, because what you saw from Peyton Manning, the absence of velocity on his throws, the fact that defenders were not respecting the deep threat ability of Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas because of the absence of arm strength on the part of Peyton Manning, and how playing out of the shotgun didn't necessarily facilitate a great running game for the Denver Broncos. It just seems that more components to an offense work better with a stronger, younger arm right now. We know Brock Osweiler isn't better than Peyton Manning. And chances are Gary Kubiak is absolutely right, as well as he should be, in terms of handing the reins back to Peyton Manning once they deem him healthy enough to play. But the reason these conversations are taking place is because it's undeniable that Denver has appeared to look better with Osweiler in the lineup and that strong arm of his than with Peyton Manning at this particular moment in time.
Yep. So what's your gut feeling? The starter for the Broncos next year, game 1 is... No. The starter for the Broncos next year, game 1, to me, is definitely Brock Osweiler. Okay.
Without question.
Without question. Okay. I'm
thinking Peyton may come back this year, but I think that Brock Osweiler, this is his team for next season.
What you thought would happen, because, again, they will have to make this call financially, because they're going to have to probably make a big long-term commitment to Brock Osweiler. I'm with you. I think they will. This is my guess from a distance, and I'm basing it on all I read and hear. So it's slightly educated, but only slightly. I believe that John Elway has already decided he is moving forward with the kid he drafted in the 2nd round, Brock Osweiler. And I believe that John Elway is convinced that Peyton Manning should stop now. And I'm going to remind you Not sure how far back you go with your NFL days, but remember, John Elway won back-to-back Super Bowls, and he quit. He retired before a lot of us thought he would or should, because they had a chance to come back, Denver, and do something no one's ever done, win 3 straight Super Bowls. Virtually impossible to do, but they had a chance if John Elway had come back for one last hurrah. And he said, no, I'm done. I've had enough. I want to go out when I'm completely on top, and my body's starting to say no. And I think John is slightly resentful that Peyton keeps hanging on and hanging on, in John's view, too long. And so now I think he's cut bait with Peyton, and he's hoping that Brock continues to seize the reins, which he's done. He was really good, especially late with those 3 late clutch throws against the Patriots the other night. But I'm not sure he's that guy yet. I haven't seen enough. And I'm going to throw this out, one small twist to the plot. I think Denver's going to have a hard time winning this game at San Diego. This is an arch rivalry. The bettors have bet this down to Denver by only 3.5 points. I know Philip Rivers and company have been mostly awful all year. They managed to win a game at Jacksonville last Sunday, maybe feel slightly better. But it's such an intense sort of Cowboys-Redskins kind of rivalry that usually Philip Rivers plays really well at home, especially against the Broncos. I think he's going to cause them a lot of problems. I'll go out on the limb and say San Diego will upset Denver, because Denver's going to have a little letdown off the high that was mile high, beating the Patriots the other night. And as good as Brock Osweiler has been, I'm not sure he's all that. So let's see how he can do on the road against a division foe in the heat in an arch rivalry. I think he's going to have a harder time this week. And again, I'll say this, some of the Broncos will be watching and they'll say, watch this. So it's like self-defeating prophecy. But I think San Diego will win this game, and it'll throw a little curve into this where Elway and Kubiak will have to sit back and start saying, wait a second, are we sure we can win this year's Super Bowl with Brock? I don't know. Your thoughts?
I don't believe there's any way that the San Diego Chargers beat the Denver Broncos. I just don't believe in this team. And I could be wrong, because obviously they got Philip Rivers on their side of the field and anything's possible. But they just seem like their own worst enemies. They find ways to lose football games this year. The San Diego Chargers have been an incredible disappointment. And obviously, I think that organization, my personal opinion is that they need wholesale changes. And Philip Rivers needs to be looking to go elsewhere if he wants a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl title. He deserves it. We know how productive he has been, but at the same time, his career doesn't speak to it at all. If he were playing for a different team, who knows what level of success he would have had. But being a San Diego Chargers has been to his detriment as far as I'm concerned. Now, when I look at Brock Osweiler, what I would tell you is that it's going to be nice to see what he's capable of doing. I'll give you that. But I think it's one of those situations, Skip, when we talk about Peyton Manning, I don't think it's a situation where John Elway is upset at Peyton Manning for sticking around too long. John Elway had no problem with Peyton Manning being back this season. I think the problem John Elway had is that he had to fight him on taking that $4 million pay cut, because Peyton Manning obviously was somebody who didn't believe that his services warranted that. John Elway saw something different, and I think that may have something to do with it as well. It's that if he stays past this year, then it would be problematic, and I don't think John Elway would allow that. But coming into the season, I don't think John Elway had a problem with it. I think he had a problem with the resistance that Peyton Manning appeared to have to the money that he was asking him to take in terms of a pay cut, and the system he was asking him to adapt to, because John Elway's trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, all of which is why I still believe Peyton will play one more year elsewhere next year.
And you're picking the Chargers to pull off the upset.
I think this is it for Peyton Manning. Some
bold predictions here on First Take today. The Packers jump right back into the NFC North. I think both of them were, actually.
Which one?
Both Peyton and San Diego.
Let it be Skip. Let it be Skip, Molly. So what? Let him have it.
We'll be back.
I mean, this is unbelievable. You need to show him more respect. And you can say that nonsensical stuff and then to top that off, you're Moody. I'm not joking, bro.